So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about the viral clip from the show Baddies, where a cast member named Summer, who is from Detroit, gets into a fight and says, "That bead face looked like Emmett Till." Yes, y'all, my mouth was to the floor. I was originally about to kick back and watch Baddies Africa, you know, because I'm African. But the moment I saw the trailer where they were fighting in front of the Zulu dancers, I had to hit pause. Like, no, I'm good. So I'm not watching it. Sorry, I know some of y'all wanted my opinion, but it's just the same old from what I see. And I did catch the first episode of Baddies Gone Wild just to see if it would have any contrast. And I do like the idea of the voting and the cash prize, but it's too many girls and a lot of them look the same. It's like everybody's like light skinned, ambiguous. I don't know who's who. I really can't see myself keeping up with it, but I will try. But yeah, the scene of them fighting in front of the Zulu dancers on Baddies, it just didn't sit right with me. I don't like the disrespect of the culture in that way because it just shows that these women can't even simmer down and respect other people's showmanship of culture. So for that, I'm good. I ended up only watching part of the first episode of Baddies Africa just to see this altercation where Summer made this comment, and y'all, it was worse than I expected.
You gonna always miss. You gonna always lose. Bitch, I ain't never gonna lose. Bitch, I'm the MVP. Bitch, you wish you could be like me, bitch.
Summer honestly to learn a few things. Like, you know, she held her own. Diamond held her own. Twigs.
That bitch face was like Emmett Till. Go re-instruct your bitch.
Trigger warning, this video will include discussions about racial violence and the brutal murder of Emmett Till. This topic was heavily requested, and honestly, Zeus Network is back again with more BS. And at this point, it feels like they're doubling down on shock value, no matter the cost. Summer's comment was deeply upsetting, not just because it was offensive, but because of how casually it rolled off of her tongue. It was ignorant, thoughtless, and absolutely sickening to hear in any context, let alone on a platform that millions of young viewers are watching. Zeus has since edited the clip out of the episode. When I went back to grab the footage, it was nowhere to be found, and I had to dig it up from TikTok. But let's be real, this show was filmed months ago. Zeus had more than enough time to review the footage and decide what they wanted to show. So the fact that they let this air, even briefly, shows that they either lack the awareness or they purposely set up their cast members to be dragged, just like their cast members set themselves up by saying this kind of dumb stuff. So I wanted to talk about this because it was trending, but also I think it's a much needed reminder of the people who sacrificed their lives for Black people to even exist in a country that has made a lot of legwork when it comes to racial relations, and that should be respected no matter what. So I've broken this video down into 3 main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first point is really diving into the comment heard around the internet and of course on the show as well. Summer's comment comparing someone's face to Emmett Till was just ignorant. It was disgustingly detached from the gravity of who Emmett Till was and what his murder represents. She got into a fight like they always do on Baddies. They're going back and forth, they're tussling, she's fighting this person and that person, and the girl, I guess, was beat up so bad in her opinion, which I think they all look crazy. Like, why are they all walking around with only one lash on? I couldn't believe it. But you compare that to Emmett Till, to be honest, none of their faces are even close to what Emmett Till looked like in his casket after he was mutilated, but we'll get to that. So his death was one of the most horrifying and pivotal moments in American history, in Black American history at that, and hearing a grown woman who was 28 years old flippantly weaponizing his name like a punchline in a drunken argument, that should disturb anyone with a conscience. What makes it worse is how effortless it seems for her to say it. No hesitation, no second thought. It shows how disconnected some people are from the weight of Black history. And in an age of TikTok and clickbait fame, moments like this just highlight how parts of Gen Z and younger millennials are becoming more and more desensitized to the trauma and sacrifice that paved the way for us to even be seen or heard.
Nobody care who the fuck Emmett Till is, bitch.
Girl, if you don't shut your dumb, ignorant fuck up. You just as slow as Summer and you trying to talk about the bitch. Y'all 2 peas in a pot.
And yet some of the responses on TikTok were even more disappointing. And I'll get to this, but you had kids in the comments saying things like, who even is Emmett Till, or why does it matter? And that right there is why this generation gets painted as being unserious, careless, and lost. We, as in us and Gen Z, are literally losing the plot. I'd be so embarrassed to be here. That's why I like saying that I'm a zillennial, because please don't group me in with the bandits, but I guess, right, we're a part of it. But There is too much information online, documentaries, interviews, and even school lessons. I mean, I learned this in school for someone to not know who Emmett Till is, especially if you're Black in America. I don't care what your lineage or heritage is, as a Black person in America, African, Haitian, Jamaican, Caribbean, West Indies, Black American, you should know this story. I learned about this story maybe in like middle school, so it's like a gruesome story that sticks with you when you look at the details. And maybe some of y'all that are not from America did not or do not know the history of Emmett Till, but still, you don't use a child who lost their life to racial violence as a tagline in your meaningless beef with your fellow baddie bandits. Let's not forget, this wasn't just a kid from the past. Emmett was a 14-year-old boy from Chicago visiting his family in Mississippi in 1955 when he was kidnapped, tortured, and lynched after a white woman named Carolyn Bryant lied. She lied and said he made sexual advances towards her. His face was so mutilated he could only be identified by a ring his mother had given him. His mother, who is Mamie Till, made the powerful decision to hold an open casket funeral so the world could see what white supremacy did to her son. And those photographs from his funeral were one of the sparks that lit the fire of the civil rights movement. So for Summer to turn that into a petty insult on a reality show, it's not just offensive, it's disgraceful. It trivializes the very real pain, trauma, and history tied to Emmett Till's death and weaponizes that pain for cheap entertainment and shock value. It's a slap in the face to every Black person who has been impacted by racial violence, past and present, and to every mother who feared for her Black son's safety, to every community still fighting for justice, which Black people still are in the modern day. When someone like Summer reduces a name like Emmett Till to just like a throwaway jab, it does reveal a disturbing disconnect from the weight of our collective history. It's a reminder of how little some people understand, or worse, how little they even care about the blood, the grief, and the activism that paved the way for them to even have a voice on a platform like Zeus Network today. And if we're not willing to call that out and hold people accountable, we risk letting this generation basically unlearn everything Black ancestors fought for. Now, moving on to point number 2, that is modern day reality TV and Gen Z's disconnect. Now, y'all know I'd be embarrassed to be a part of Gen Z because at this point, what the helly? And it's because I do understand what older generations do be talking about. And younger millennials, y'all are not safe either. Some of y'all are disconnected as well. We're gonna hold all of us accountable, but let's talk about Zeus Network real quick. I've talked about them so many times. This is not, a holy channel. This isn't Disney or VH1 or whatever. Zeus Network exploits debauchery. It profits off of dysfunction, and someone like Summer is honestly perfectly cast. A woman who drinks excessively, argues over nothing, and spirals out for the camera. That's what Zeus wants. That's the product that they're selling, right? But this isn't harmless entertainment. This is how the world sees Black women now. This is how younger generations absorb what's popular. Baddies is like Satan's spawn with a wig on, right? And every episode shows a group of women crashing out, physically fighting, and weaponizing trauma for likes and views. Back when Bad Girls Club was a show, season 10, there was a white girl named Shannon who called an African cast member named Valentina. Valentina was Nigerian, and she called her Kunta Kente.
Go crazy. Excuse me for being on your bed friend. Kunta Kente. Kunta Kente. Whoa. You know she's African.
I will never forget this clip because even when I watched it as a Nigerian, I was like, whoa. And you can see everyone in the clip was also shocked. This is the lineage of reality TV though. This is what it has created, where Black pain is a joke and its legacy is just like a meme for real. What makes this even more disturbing is the way how younger Gen Z has responded. Like I said earlier, I saw TikToks where kids were saying, who even is Emmett Till, or no one cares. And that right there is the problem. We are losing the plot.
All y'all should really shut the fuck up. Don't nobody care who the Emmett Till is. How about that? No, we really do care. But in real life, y'all gotta realize everybody don't know every motherfucking thing.
So y'all know what time Baddies comes on every Sunday, but y'all don't know what happened to Emmett Till. Please.
I'm sure by now we've all seen this video of this young woman who decided to get online and not only disrespect and disparage the name of Emmett Till, but also the memory of Emmett Till. But honestly, I'm not sure why y'all expected anything less. Because this is the average Baddies consumer. And even if you yourself do not suffer from such low intellect, if you are a religious Baddies watcher, this is the level of intellect that most people assume that you have. Guilty by association, I am so sorry to tell you. Honestly, I don't expect anything more from a bunch of people who spend all of their free time watching a TV show that consists of nothing but grown women going to Airbnbs and then stripping down in their bra and underwear so they can fist fight to the point of disfigurement. I don't, and y'all shouldn't either.
In an era where information is literally in your pocket on a phone, where documentaries about Emmett Till are available on every platform, platform, even the one that you're watching me on right now, YouTube, there is no excuse for this type of ignorance. His face is in history books. His story is a cornerstone of the civil rights movement. The reason you don't have to drink from a black-only fountain anymore is because of stories like Emmett Till's. And yet, because clout is the new currency, people will say and defend anything just to go viral. This is why Gen Z gets painted as a careless, unserious generation. When you have people defending Summer or acting like Emmett Till's legacy isn't sacred, it shows how quickly we are erasing our own history in the name of aesthetics, trends, and chaos. Now, moving on to my third and final point, and that is something I'm happy to discuss, which is Emmett Till's story having a little connection to the movie Sinners. This past weekend, I finally went to go watch the movie Sinners. I loved it. I highly recommend it. And it's a movie that also highlights the racial divide between Chicago and Mississippi, the same divide that defined Emmett Till's life and death. Think about that. I won't spoil it if you haven't watched it, but I am going to talk a little bit about it. So if you didn't watch it, kind of skip this part. But Emmett was from Chicago. He went down to Mississippi to visit family and never made it back home. In Sinners, the twins, Smoke and Staxx, leave Mississippi to go to Chicago, where they work for the Italian mob and still face racism, but it's nothing like the deep-rooted, violent white supremacy waiting for them when they return home to Mississippi. They end up buying a sawmill from a Klansman, yes, literally a Klansman, and the story explores how racism plays a role in their eventual downfall. Again, I won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but watching Sinners in the same week I heard Summer's comment, it really does hit. The echoes of Emmett Till's story are still very much alive. The North versus South racial dynamics, the inherited trauma, the way a single lie from a white woman could ruin a black life, it's all still relevant. So when we say Emmett Till's legacy should be protected, it's not just about respect. Like, that part of it is obvious. It's about acknowledging the price that was paid for us to even exist in these spaces. Reality stars like Summer are standing on the shoulders of people who died for their right to be seen and heard. So touching on Sinners a little bit more, obviously in the movie it showed the deadly grip of like Southern Jim Crow. Once they're back in the Deep South where the hatred is raw, open, and violent, just like Emmett Till, who was also from Chicago and returned to the South thinking he'd be okay, thinking he could be a kid, thinking he could just exist. The twins in Sinners underestimate how lethal racism can be once you cross them state lines. And I just moved to the South, and I'll be real, I feel like people here are a little bit more friendly than where I'm from. Like, I met these two white women the other day. They were like in their 40s and 50s while I was out to eat with a friend, and they were really nice, and they were from North Carolina, and I don't know, they were just really nice. They appreciated me and my friend. They were talking us up. We had a cool conversation. But maybe it's just certain areas in the South. As we know, there are still sundown towns in the South, even in some places in the Midwest. So in the movie, the brothers try to be black and successful like Summer can enjoy in the modern times, right? She's black and successful to a certain degree. But in the movie and during that 1930s time period, the white racists and their systems of power refused to let two black men succeed independently on their soil. The Klan's presence, the systemic resistance to black ownership, and the casual dehumanization of black men basically mirrors what happened to Emmett Till, whose very existence was deemed threatening to white power structures. There's a key scene where Smoke is warned that no matter how much money he brings back, no matter how connected he becomes, in Mississippi, you're still just an N-word with a target on your back. That was said in the movie. And that line cuts deep because it echoes the same tragic message of Emmett Till's fate, that in the South, black life has always been disposable to white supremacy. Even the town's reaction to the brothers' return reflects this racial hostility. Much like how Emmett's mere presence, his supposed whistle, his blackness, was enough to incite violence, the twins' ambitions are not seen as success stories, but as threats to white people. Also, the time period in Sinners is significant. It's set in a racially tense pre-civil rights era South, eerily close to 1955, which was the year Emmett Till was killed. That alone makes the parallels undeniable. And the fact that this movie aired the same week that Summer made her ignorant comments adds another layer to the irony and the tragedy. Sinners is literally telling us a story about how geography, race, and power shaped the Black American experience, and of course a lot more, and how even when you flee to the North, the dangers of white supremacy still chase you down. And Summer is from Detroit, and they still have racist areas in Michigan. So people like Summer, who benefit from the sacrifices of people like Emmett Till, are so disconnected that they toss his name around like it's just a punchline. The generational memory of our own trauma is slipping, and the movie Sinners reminds us why that memory matters. It draws a haunting map of Black struggle from Chicago to Mississippi and forces us to look at how little has changed when ignorance like Summer's still makes it to national television. Now, just ending with my closing thoughts. My closing thoughts are, Summer, You're a bummer. Nah, that's lame. But Summer has since released an apology. She wrote, or somebody wrote for her, because I don't know if she could write this, but she said, I want to take a moment to address a recent comment I made that was inappropriate and insensitive. I deeply regret my words and the impact they may have had on others. I understand that my response was not appropriate for the situation at hand, and I sincerely apologize to anyone who was offended. As someone who is still new to the world of television and public life, I am committed to learning and growing from this experience. I recognize the importance of being mindful and respectful in all situations, and I am dedicated to doing better moving forward. Thank you for your understanding and support as I strive to be a better person and contributor to my community. And girl, bye. Like, I like accountability, but come on, this is not even it. This is too far. I feel like it had no heart, no substance, no real accountability for real. Like, she didn't even dive into what she said. And while people are calling for her to be removed, let's not forget, Zeus wants this outrage. It feeds their algorithm. The question is, do we want to keep feeding it too? Zeus also made a statement. They said, at Zeus Network, we are committed to delivering bold, unfiltered entertainment, but we also expect all talent and partners to uphold a standard of respect and responsibility. Pause right there. That sounds like an oxymoron to say about Zeus, but okay. Continue. They said, we recognize that recent comments on the series Baddies Africa, referencing Emmett Till, have caused deep hurt and offense. The Zeus Network takes such matters very seriously and maintains a strong commitment to respect, integrity, and accountability both on and off the screen. Yeah, okay. We are currently reviewing the situation internally. Appropriate action will be taken based on the outcome of this review. While cast member Summer of Baddies Africa has since apologized, we also take this opportunity to educate our talent on the dangers of using such reckless rhetoric. We extend our deepest apologies to the family of Emmett Till and will be making charitable donations to organizations honoring the achievements of African American history. I doubt it. Additionally, we will be providing resources surrounding cultural sensitivity training. We remain committed to fostering an inclusive environment for our talent, staff, partners, and audiences. We appreciate our community's continued support and will provide further updates as necessary. So, yeah, that all sounds good. It really does. But I mean, come on. Like, the same network that promotes being a BADDIE is now trying to be the NAACP. Can you imagine that? To me, this isn't just about Summer. This is about how much of Black legacy people are willing to trade for clout. Emmett Till was a child who died because of white lies, racial hatred, and silence. His face should not be memeified. It should never be a punchline. But what do y'all think will happen to Summer? Should Summer be removed from the show? Do you think they're going to invite her back? Has Zeus gone too far? Duh, they have. And how do we as a generation reclaim our history when so many of us don't even know it? I do have a lot of questions. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If y'all haven't already, please make sure that you check the link down below. Click to support me on my journey to becoming Miss Diaspora Nigeria USA 2025. You guys can Cash App, PayPal, or just click the link and go on the website. One vote is $5, but definitely put a little bit more because your girl's in 12th place and I want to be a little bit further. So thank you all in advance if you decide to support me. And as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and follow me on all of my social media networks. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
But now it's a festival, new money now, so you gotta move a decimal. Presidential suite and it's looking all congressional. I'm so delectable, pull your queen card, cause mine is a collectible. Better mind your business and stay up off my genitals. Probably make them high, cause my body's like an edible. Wait, let me stop, cause I'm trying to be professional. Damn. I know that's what y'all said when you heard that verse. Y'all was like, damn. Respectfully though, we on Victoria Island, like a gullah sun on my melanin, working on my color bubblegum pink fit. To you I like hubba bubba, need my check Friday. I'm calling you a more